The United States should not adopt a system of universal healthcare. While theoretically this may sound like a good idea, the repercussions to a plan like this would be very costly considering the average of the US healthcare system. According to Zippia.com, the US healthcare system has a revenue value of $808 billion within the year of 2021, with 65% of that coming from patient care. So if there's this much money within the healthcare system, where would the money come from in order to have universal healthcare within the US? The answer to the question is unfortunately the extremely high rise of taxes. Currently, there is a version of healthcare provided by our government within the US, and this is known as Obamacare. Currently, according to Congressman Jeff Duncan, if a citizen makes under $200,000 a year, they will receive a 1.45% tax on that income. And then for those who make above that number, the tax is doubled to 2.9%. And then for anyone who's self-employed, that tax rate ranges anywhere from 2.9 to 3.8%. However, one very common argument brought up to advocate for universal healthcare is that most other countries in the world have free or universal healthcare. According to internationalinsurance.com, there are only 43 countries in the world that do not have a universal healthcare system. Now, while this may be a good argument towards the implementation of this within the US, the only problem with this is that the US healthcare system makes up such a large portion of our economy compared to other countries that this type of large financial transition seems almost impossible. This is shown by Statista.com, which states that in the year of 2020, the healthcare system made up for about 19.7% of our GDP in the US. For reference to this number, in the UK, a major nation, their healthcare system made up for only about 9.9% of their GDP in 2019. That's about half of what we spent. The language used by the affirmative plan was actually very consistent with its resolution, giving the definitions of equity, single-payer healthcare, and universal healthcare. These are all very much in line with the resolution presented, and are concise enough to prevent them from being overlooked as to the scope of the resolution itself. If this plan of universal healthcare were to be implemented, the harm that would be caused would be shown in taxes. An example of this theory can be shown in an actual universal healthcare push in the United States. The numbers behind this proposal are a 7.5% payroll tax, as well as a 4% tax on income. And if you make more than for anyone who makes an extremely high income, you're even more subjugative to an even higher tax rate. And then these numbers go to show that universal healthcare is a luxury of which would entail a heavy price. Another problematic question that would come with this type of healthcare system is, what are the qualifications for it? Are the employed entitled to it? Does its level increase for the elderly who need more medical attention and more health care than someone who's, say, my age at 20? One flaw that I found from the affirmative case was the description of racial discrimination from healthcare, explaining how these minorities have a lower average income and that therefore they are discriminated against when comparing the numbers of race to being uninsured as well. I find this comparison to not be applicable to being relevant as to why there is a need for a universal healthcare system. A person being uninsured has not really that much to do with their race, but simply their employment. In 2021, states that provided Medicaid held an average of about a 6.6% uninsurance rate, and the employment rate can account for some portion of that 6.6%, but it's more shown in people who are self-employed. An article shown by PubMed.gov, where it is stated that by year 2 of a person being self-employed, about 25.7% of them have become uninsured, while people who stay employed only have about an 8.1%. Since this plan has many implications as to why it may not be realistically applicable at this time, an alternative instead is instead of creating a universal health system, implement regulations that would make expensive aspects of the healthcare system more affordable for the average citizen. Examples of this expensive healthcares are emergency room trips, ambulance calls, and child delivery. Currently across the U.S., the average emergency room trip is $2,200. Average ambulance is $1,200. Average cost of delivery without insurance is $18,865. If certain aspects of healthcare were to become more affordable, it would solve a lot of issues regarding people struggling to afford healthcare, therefore avoiding the need of a universal healthcare system. Thank you.